What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode. I'm your host, T.
I'm Tasha.
And welcome to the adventures of TNT.
TNT.
So, as you all know, we've been doing some country music on this channel for quite some time. And
Not really. Probably like 6 months.
Yeah, 6 months.
That's not that long.
That is long.
We're still newbies.
Yeah, we are still newbies.
Noobs.
But we're learning a lot. And one of the main things that I like about country music, and as well as many others, is that country twang. And
Okay.
yeah. And one thing that I love about my wife is her country twang.
Okay.
Yeah, Tasha, she's from Georgia. She has a southern accent, and that's something that I like about you, baby.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
So I was.
What are we doing?
So we're doing this video. It's about Appalachian English, because I was sitting around and I was thinking to myself, where did like the southern accent come from?
Okay.
And how was it formed?
Okay.
And
you
so-
actually sit around and think about this.
Yeah, because
Okay.
I mean, I sit because
Why does Tasha sound the way
right,
she does?
exactly, because
Okay.
I was born and raised in California. I was born
Okay.
and raised in California. Then I moved up north, and I remember when we first moved to Georgia, I had a conversation with my dad, and he said, "Hey, son, you're not going to sound or talk the same way as other people there, and they might laugh at you from the way you talk. So just know that it's okay." And so
Okay.
yeah, we had to have
Wow.
a talk like that. Yeah, and that was something that I noticed when I first moved here, was that I didn't sound like everybody else that lived here, and people let me know when they spoke to me. They say, "Hey, you're not from here."
Yeah,
Yeah.
obviously.
And so that was always something that just fascinated me.
Okay.
So this video is about Appalachian English, in which,
Okay.
from what I believe, I don't know, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the root of where the southern accent came from.
Okay.
So let's just go ahead and check it out, and let's see.
Talking about like that, like if you had some wood out in the yard, instead of saying carry it in the house, you'd say tote it in the house. And like if you had something that you wanted to put in a paper bag, you put it in a paper poke, instead of a paper bag. Well, the way people talk around here, I guess it'd be what more like you call hillbilly style or something, I guess. I don't know, just mountain talk.
Mountain talk.
That's beautiful.
Most of your local people have your mountain talk. That's the way you can tell the mountain people from your outsiders, by their language they use. Say, "I'll see you over yonder." It means I'll see you like in Waynesville.
Okay, wait. So, from what I do know, is with certain words, like my grandmother says. My grandmother, she lives in Ohio, but she still says things like y'all.
Yeah, because she moved from the South up north, right?
I don't know.
How you not know?
I don't know. I was a kid. I don't ask questions about my grandmother. But
She never told you stories?
No. It was always, y'all better sit down or I'm gonna
Oh, because
whoop-"
y'all was bad. She didn't have time to tell y'all stories.
I'm gonna whoop your ass. So did your grandmother, did she say things like over yonder, or she said y'all? What are some country or southern words that you grew up-
Fixin' to, instead of, and fixin' and fitting.
Or it's
you
the
know?
same thing.
Yeah. I can't really think of the words that I use that's different. I mean, you could tell me more so
Yeah.
because I use different words.
Son of a biscuit.
I think that's new. My grandmother never. Well, my grandma. Got me saying grandmother. My grandma
Been living
never.
with me too much.
Never said stuff like that. But they were from the country, so the verbiage was even more different.
Okay.
Instead of girl, she would say guh.
Oh, okay. Right. yeah.
Or I don't know. I can't really think, but I
Okay.
know a lot of the verbiage was different. My mom's accent was different from hers.
Okay.
My mom doesn't too much have a southern accent, but people who aren't from here can still hear
they
it.
can, yeah.
but my southern accent is actually stronger than my mom's.
Okay.
How? I don't know.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and continue with the video, and maybe you might hear some words that that you use in your vocabulary, because I'm definitely going to point them out.
Okay.
That's a mountaintop, Kylie.
Never, nothing stops. It's like a singing, you know. We're kind of like we're singing. Lita said
Okay,
we're
I like
singing,
that.
not talking, you know.
I like that.
Yeah, I like my moped.
We talking sing song.
It said Dolly Parton. She was from the Appalachian
Okay.
Mountains. What is this? Bluegrass?
Sounds like
Everybody hears about Graham County, don't they? How good the people is, how they'll help you. I run into people I don't know, never seen them in my life, and I help them any way I can.
Oh, I love
Somebody said
that.
one day,
Southern
"You'll get knocked in the
hospitality.
head." I said, "Well, if I do, I'm just knocked." They're just good-hearted. Everybody you meet, just 99% of them.
Yeah,
If I didn't live here, I'd move, wouldn't you?
Where you want to go on vacation?
If I was gonna go on a vacation, I'd just stay right on here. Oh, yeah. It's one of mine is all the time anyhow.
We are 20 years behind the whole country, but I wouldn't swap places with nobody. I feel much more comfortable here being 20 years behind everybody than I would be sitting in a lot of places and being so miserable. You don't like your neighbor, you don't speak to your neighbor,
Pause.
you're bitter with the world.
This is what I've been talking about because Atlanta has changed so much and it is awful. And you know how we speak to everybody. When we see people, you say good morning, you say, hey, how you doing? You nod your head. That is how we were raised. And the fact that there's so many people here that aren't like that, it makes you feel weird. And it makes you feel like an outsider
out of place.
in your own home.
Right.
You know, and, you know, my family is from Monticello, Georgia, and you still go there today. You ride in your car, everybody who's outside, they wave at you, hey, how you doing? They will give you the shirt off their backs. And I miss that, you know, and you know, I even talked to you about moving to the country because I was like, I can't take this no more.
Well, that's exactly what he's saying. You know, he's saying that although some may feel like they're 20 years behind the country, you wouldn't want to be anywhere else because there's a certain level of peace and serene that you have around their community.
You know, your neighbors.
Yeah, but the funny thing about it is that when we took that trip to Tennessee, every time we go to Tennessee,
Yeah.
there is just a certain feeling that you have that
can
felt
relax.
good. You can relax.
You don't
and
have to look over your
right.
shoulder.
And when we took that week vacation, you know, some people go to Florida, they go to California, they go to the beach or something. We went to Tennessee.
I mean, we go to the beach too.
Yeah, we do too.
In Alabama though.
Right. But we went to Tennessee, and it was so relaxing. It was so peaceful. And afterwards, we came back, and it was like we were recharged, ready
Yeah.
to take on the world again.
You know, it was also interesting to watch the news in Tennessee because there was a huge difference. Here in Atlanta, you watch the news, count how many times they say shot and killed.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Or
Crime.
robbed or crime or hijacked or anything like that. We went to Tennessee, we turned on the news.
Nothing.
There was no news. It was news, but it was about the weather or about events.
Or
And
something
if it was a
different.
shooting, it wasn't there.
Right.
It was from somewhere else. I think it was Atlanta, actually.
Right.
You know, so it felt good to be able to relax a little bit because things have gotten so crazy here. It's like you always got to be on your toes, you know, watch your P's and Q's,
Right.
you know, and it gets to be stressful.
Yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and jump back into the video. And of course, guys, leave your thoughts down below in the comment section.
Do you need the closed captions? Do you need to read it? I'm just asking.
Yeah. Yeah.
You need it?
Yeah,
Okay.
because sometimes they might say something that I want to know what they're saying if I can't.
I was just
interpret it.
wondering.
I know you probably don't need it, but
Atlanta's a good example, or
Oh.
Raleigh. You drive down the street and everybody's wide open blowing their horn.
wow.
Yep.
All right.
And don't know nobody and don't want to know nobody and don't care about nobody.
Yep.
It's quite a bit different up here.
Well, I lived in Washington, D.C. about 4.5 years, and I just seemed to be in hell with my back broke as live there. People are so good to each other here.
Many of the words and expressions in mountain speech are unfamiliar to outsiders. Scots-Irish settlers brought much of the vocabulary from Europe, but
Wow.
many new words and expressions were invented here by their descendants.
There's just somebody coming up with a strange word is what it means. I mean, let's say you're trying to get something done, you're building something, and you take a look at it, like the word Saigoglin.
Saigoglin.
I never heard that.
You're looking at it, and it's all out of line, and you just might come up with the word Saigoglin. I do that myself. Can't think of anything right off, but I come up with a lot of new words myself. And so you get somebody standing around, they hear that, and okay, it's Saigoglin.
Say a carpenter has done a real poor job, and then you say, that's all Saigoglin, you know, he didn't have his wall straight, or...
They stand back and look.
All right. So what do they say when something is crooked or is like out of whack? What's another word for Saigoglin that people say?
Oh, is rigged?
Nah.
What?
Lopsided.
That's a real word.
Yeah. It's
Oh.
lopsided.
Okay.
And then if they say like, if you're acting up, or your mom or your grandma, they say I'm gonna hit you upside the head or lop you upside the head.
Oh, okay. I'm sure you heard that a lot.
Yeah.
I didn't hear that, so.
Something like they say, that thing's Saigoglin. They say, I want you to look and say, what is it? If you're building some kind of, they said, that's Saigoglin right yonder. And said, that old road going up there, and said, that thing's Saigoglin.
My grandmother, she's always talking about people being stout or gaint. She used words like peckerwood. If it's somebody she didn't like, she'd call him a peckerwood. You know, if there's somebody she didn't know, but he's probably all right. She didn't have any animosity for him. She'd say he is a jasper.
Ooh.
Have you heard that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. My grandma would say that.
Interesting.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, my grandma would say that, and Jasper would be somebody that she didn't like.
There's this jasper come by here this morning. I knocked on the door, you know. But if it's a salesman, there's this peckerwood out there on the porch.
It's like people used to, like you go in the store and say, put it in the bag. Old people says you put it in the poke.
That's a bag. I used to go to the store, walk 2 miles to the store, and when I was a kid, and carry a 25-pound poke of flour home. That's flour, by the way, not flour.
And me and my 2 sisters and 1 brother, we'd be waiting on them at the house to get our candy. Saul, the older man I was talking about, had a little poke of candy. He said, well, I forgot to get anything. Boy, we'd scream. Oh, here it is.
Plum was a common word when I was
Plum
going.
food?
Plum this and plum that. And you, plum over there. Well, he was just plumb wore out.
And that copper mine, that vein, they tunneled under the ground, plumb out through here to Snowbird.
Like the wind was blowing, you know, a lot of air. They would say it's very Irish outside.
Irish, it means it's a little bit chilly outside.
Really?
It means it's Irish, that means it's chilly today. It's Irish today right now as we speak. The air is blowing and breezy.
They go to store and buy a Coke. They call them dopes back in. I don't know if you ever heard anybody say that
Probably
or not.
because it was
That's what we
actually
drank
in
when
it.
I was a kid. And it was called, they had Knee-High, they had Pepsi-Cola, Royal Crown
Said
Cola.
pop. They always said pop.
A lot of them, that was dope.
Oh, a dope. You're talking about like a soda pop, soda water, yeah.
We call everything
Yeah,
Coke
soda
here,
water, yeah,
whether it's
dope.
Sprite.
That's all they ever call them around here.
Like everything here, when they ask if you want a soda, they'll say, do you want a Coke? And if you say, no, I want a Coke, because everything was a Coke, whether it was a Fanta, whether it was a Sprite, everything was a Coke.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So what kind of Coke do you want?
Right. Yeah. When I was growing up, my family they would always just say pop.
Yeah.
And pop was for everything.
And I remember, you know, having friends and they would say pop, and I was like, what is a pop? Or like even tennis shoes. They would call it something else. Like, I forgot what they call it. We always had different words for stuff.
Yeah, well, if you had beat down tennis shoes, they call them bobos.
So we made up words too.
Yeah, but that's very interesting because they would call it dope, and then as most people know, they used to put cocaine in the original Coca-Cola recipe.
Yeah,
that's why they call it Coke.
As a kid, I mean, that's...
Now, if you go up toward Ernestine's place up there, stop along there about where you turn up to Tony's there in them pine patch, right, and along with that log house, you probably see a boomer right there.
A lady come through.
What's
she
a
said,
boomer?
Oh, I said, that's a pretty boomer. She said, a boomer? What's a boomer?
You know what a boomer is, don't you? You ever see one?
What's a boomer?
They make a lot of chatting noises. They're about the size of a wharf rat.
A wharf rat?
Yeah, wharf rat. Big old rat.
A boomer is like a little squirrel. It's not a squirrel.
It's a mix between a gray squirrel and a chipmunk.
Except it's red.
Can you eat them?
Yeah.
I never
She
seen
said, that's a
one
red
of those.
squirrel. I said, well, to me, it's a boomer. We always called it boomers.
Okay.
Say it's no skull. I mean, that's old dad land. Won't grow nothing, you know. Call it skull. I don't know if you ever heard that. Or I know you have. Call it a skull. For land.
That's like a carburetor in my van, all gommed up with all that old dirty stuff.
Gom? Mean like it's all cluttered up. Gommed up.
Gom.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that means it's in a mess.
Yeah. It's so the way they say it and the way they spell it is GAUM, but now a lot of people people still use gum, but they say it like gum, GUM. Like, oh, that's gummed up. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
That's what I would.
They didn't know they were talking to such educated folks, did they?
Nice boots.
Instead of saying yonder, you know, over yonder, it's over yander. You ever hear that word, over yander?
Yeah, I say way over yonder, yeah. Yeah, Mama used to come up to us when we was little and she'd say, goose or gander. And she'd pull each year. You say goose, she'd say pull it you loose. And you say gander, she'd say pull it way over yonder.
Them little bitches, they all know me. They say yonder comes him a riding his Harley Davis. They think it's a Harley.
His little moped. That was cool.
Yeah, that was cool. I like
Yeah.
that. You know, it's very informal or informational.
Informative.
Yeah, thank you, baby.
We're smart too.
Very informative and very insightful as well.
Yeah.
And I would like to see more videos like this
Okay.
because it helps me understand the root to a lot of the words that we use in society now.
Okay.
But it also helps me understand, you know, where a lot of the accents in America, where they originate.
Okay.
Because, you know, we're a collection of a lot of different cultures and languages. And so when you hear some of these words and you hear, you know, some of the things that maybe your grandparents or, you know, older folks say, you know, it makes you think like, wow, you know, where did this come from? Because as I said, you know, my grandmother, she uses a lot of these words in her talk. And so now it makes me want to kind of investigate, you know, where she was brought up.
Okay.
You know, so.
Well, definitely that's something you should get into. Growing up, I noticed the things that my grandma did. And I think about it as an adult because her being from the country, like her doing things came from not only the country, but from her ancestors.
Okay.
You know, like eating with her hands. Like we used to eat collard greens and cornbread with our hands, or she would eat like buttermilk and cornbread and like sop it up and stuff, like some of the things that she did. So it's very interesting to explore this because it's exploring our history. And it's funny because a lot of times I think people would like to forget.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Right.
And it's always been interesting, and I guess growing up for both of us, you speaking differently because you had a different accent, but with a Southern accent, people who aren't from here, there's a negative stereotype that comes with speaking in a Southern accent or having a Southern drawl. And even me, there's different Southern accents within the state of Georgia. And the negative stereotype is that you're stupid, you're slow.
And that's always been a misconception.
Yeah.
Because as you can see, just because you have an accent, a Southern accent, it doesn't mean that you're less intelligent or that you're stupid. It just means that you have a different way of communicating.
Yeah, and I mean, talking slow, like we're not in a rush to do anything here. Well, now there are because there's so many different people here, but we take our time doing everything. Everything is made with love. Our food, we walk slow, you know, because we take our time. Most of us drive slow. I think I drive slow, but you don't think so.
No, you have a lead foot.
But I disagree. I see he made a face. But anyway, you have to go with the times, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
But this was very interesting, and I was waiting to watch something on Netflix because there's a documentary called Hillbilly on Netflix. And I was going to put it on my Patreon because, you know, we can't upload anything from Netflix on the channel. Right. So definitely become part of the Patreon so you can watch that. We have a lot of exclusive content on my Patreon as well as your Patreon as well. Yeah. Mine is more so geared toward the country, so if that's what you want to do. Country music,
check her stuff out.
Country music. I said country music twice. Country movies, country music, and just the culture. It's been fun. Learning about all this stuff and where I get my accent from. And even when we went to the Country Music Hall of Fame, they had paintings and the history of country music, and just seeing them from their Scottish, Irish ancestors, because that's where the music came from as well, Scottish, Irish, and the African ancestors, like melting and molding
to create right
that.
Exactly, because one of the things that we didn't know, because they had a section in there for well, it was African American history or American history, but it was the creation of the banjo and where it came from, in which it came from slaves, and from there
African slaves.
Yeah, African slaves, and so from there it just, you know, transformed into you know, bluegrass music, and
because you know the Scottish and the Irish were there, and I mean there was a painting because it was a slave owner. He painted a picture of the Scottish and the Africans like singing together. You know, and it was very interesting. It was very eye-opening, and this is, to me, what needs to be taught in the schools.
Right, absolutely. And the thing that is that, you know, and we say this on the channel so many times, that when they start teaching certain things about American history, we find out that we're more alike than we are different. And you find out the root of some of the things that we feel like is not a part of us, because many black people will say, oh, country music is not for me, or it's not a part of me. But if you look into history, you find out that it is. We're all rooted in this. This is American history.
It's our roots,
yes,
baby.
But anyway, guys, that'll wrap it up for today. Leave your thoughts down below in the comment section. We would love to do some more videos like this with Appalachian English, and maybe even something a little bit more, I would say, modern, because this is Appalachian English, but then I guess there's like Southern English or different types of.
Well, I think it derived from Appalachian English.
Right.
Actually.
Yeah. Well, I want to know, like,
even slang. Probably.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
guys, if you have any recommendations, go ahead and leave them down below in the comment section. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Anyway, like, share, and subscribe. We'll see y'all next time.
Ta-ta.
Peace.